instructions given.
I'm sulking.
Oh, speechless. Almost.
Oh, it's crap. Oh, it's bloody rubbish. Rubbish.
Whoa, but look at the target from there. What are you shooting?
Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday post-match live stream for AFC Wimbledon 3, Ipswich Town. Now, let's just get this out of the way now. We are not in any way attempting to patronise AFC Wimbledon tonight, who were way better than Ipswich and absolutely hammered us. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way now.
Different level, absolutely.
I mean, Dave, that was pathetic, wasn't it?
I mean, mate, I don't know what to say about that. I know I said, throughout the game, I said, Ben, how are we going to ever describe the sort of shit show that first half was? I mean, a little bit better for a time the second half, and then arguably Edwards, who was having a lot of joy down the right, he came off. I don't know. The lowest
Dave,
I've ever been. The lowest I've ever been as a Town fan, I think.
Where was this scenario in your head that Cook comes in and it actually gets worse? The chaos on the pitch. This was not a scenario in my head.
Well, I don't think at anybody's head. We must be the only club that in history that just doesn't get a new manager bounce. However, it was an odd one, wasn't it? Because he came in on the back of 3 wins, the best run we'd had for 18 months. Mate, I can't get my head around what really happened there tonight. I mean, we'll go into some detail, I suppose, and try and describe the goals. I mean, they were just awful, just horrible, horrible goals. No one can come out of that game with any credit. Nobody at all. No one.
I thought Chris Kawamia was good on co-coms.
Chris Kawamia, very good. Yeah, came across really well. Yeah, probably Chris Kawamia. There you go.
It's my man of the match.
Probably even at his age, probably could have come on and led the line fairly well. But Ben, it was what I don't understand about it.
Quickly, Dave, you say thanks to James, £5.
Oh, James, superb, mate. Thank you,
Dave. Thank you, James. Very, very,
bless
very
you,
kind
mate.
indeed.
I just, Ben, what I don't understand. These guys, a lot of guys playing there tonight are playing for their livelihood, aren't they? They're out of contract. These guys are out of contract come the end of the season. Who is gonna, on the evidence of the last, I hate to say it, 9 games or 10 games, is it now? Where are these players going to get contracts? Well, certainly that. Well, hopefully they're certainly not going to be with us. But who are they going to get contracts with? I mean, it's beyond crap.
Right, let's do a straw poll, guys. Now, normally I tell people off for grading it 1 out of 10, but I'd like the chat. There's loads of people in the chat here. I'd like the chat. Can you give that a score out of 10, please? Give that performance by Ipswich, specifically the first half performance. Can you give that a score out of 10 in the chat, and we'll put them up on the screen. Dave, that's got to be a 2 or a 3, hasn't it?
Oh, it's a 3. It's a 3 at best. I mean, I'm not even sure it deserves a 3. I mean, you think it can't get worse, and 2-0 down, you can see 2 really poor goals. I mean, marking terrible, defending of crosses awful, and then literally 2 minutes after the second goal, we're down to 10 men, and perhaps we'll look at that. I mean, you could get to that as much as you think, but I think you may have summed it up, or someone in our group summed it up quite well when they said, "Well, you should be making that challenge." You gave the ref the excuse really, and how their players reacted. Certainly the foul player, and how the rest of their team reacted. Yeah, it was only going to. I could see that was only going to go one way.
Well, let's try and analyse it, guys. Keep your comments coming. We'll do some Q&A in a bit. We're going to try and analyse it, but I feel like I've just been punched in the face. Do you know what I mean? I know.
I'll tell you how bad it was, mate. I felt they
punched me in the face, but
they didn't deserve the retro shirt. Retro shirt's gone now. It's at half, not even at half mast. It's on the floor.
Right.
Be surprised you've still got the scarf viewable. To be fair,
let's try and analyse this. So, Dave, we'll do the team. The shape is irrelevant because there's a red card after 28 minutes. But Holly in goal. we'll go with that back three. Wolfenden, Enciala, Chambers. It did look like it was a bit lopsided with Edwards trying to get forward and get into midfield and Ward dropping in. So it may have been a lopsided one, but we'll call it that. Who cares, frankly? Judge, Downs, and Harrop in our tenacious midfield. Dryden, I don't want to have a go at the poor bloke, but
no, I know.
And Twitter's Norwood there. Let's just read the names of a few players who did show up for work tonight. Here's the Wimbledon team. Sanev in goal. The excellent right back O'Neill, who's probably the man in the match, wasn't he? Kalambai, Nightingale, Guinness Walker, Widger, Dobson, who we've seen before with Sunderland, haven't we? Rudoni, Asai, 18-goal Joe Pigott, and Ollie Palmer. And Dave, let's just get into it because it just crumbled. The first, it was a mistake, wasn't it, by Enciala initially? I think they played out of defence poorly and then
I think Pigott
and then conceded the set play. Right? Is that what happened?
Pigott got possession, didn't he? Pigott got possession and a run. Good hit, good save from Holy.
That's right.
Nothing wrong with that. Pushes it wide. Good save. But I mean, it's just a bog standard corner into the box. It's just not marked. I mean, what are they doing? Are they zonal marking? I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah. So the guys on the edge of the box
dropped in the 6-yard box.
But they're not culpable because presumably, I think it was Judge was told someone always takes that position.
Yeah.
But if you are doing zonal, when a big strapping centre half like Nightingale is going to make a run in between,
someone's got to take responsibility.
Good delivery, but someone's got to take
responsibility. Someone's got to take responsibility. It clearly did. I mean, it was just such a simple goal, and dreadful. But yeah, you think, okay, 1-0, come on, it's been fairly even up to then. I think we'd actually created half a chance, didn't we? Sort of drawing a near post, I think, half a chance.
Right.
And you think, okay, 1-0, disappointing, but come on. And then, it's all within 10 minutes, isn't it? It's just game over.
But Dave, it should have been, sorry, I've misspoken. It should have been 2-0 fairly quickly. Toto gives one away and Palmer shoots it across the face.
Sorry, yeah.
And just a collapse as soon as that.
No one doesn't get on the end of that. God only knows.
As soon as that first chance, first breach of the defence occurred, it was just a mental and psychological collapse.
And then a horrible mess.
I mean, our podcast doesn't want to rip into players, but the second goal is just pathetic. The little Assal is way too strong for Chambers, who's twice the size of him. O'Neill touches it and Ward makes the most pathetic attempt to charge the cross down and turns his back.
Just turns him inside out, doesn't he? Turns him inside out.
O'Neill
again,
crosses him, but then Enciala gets absolutely dominated in the air, and he's a huge bloke as well. Holly's got no chance. It's an awful goal, Dave. It's just a ball in the channel and then three pieces of real.
But Ben, it's a sort of cross. It's a sort of cross that we just don't get in. We just don't put balls in those areas. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it should have been defended, but you watch when we cross the ball from that sort of area, we never put a ball in that area. 6-yard box, go and attack it, go and attack. We just don't put balls in like that. It was a good ball. Ward was beaten far too easily, and again, defending on the cross was, as for the corner, was just static.
And as Chris Kiwamya said, they've got a game plan. They've got a player who can head the ball and a right back who can follow the play up and cross the ball. A little sort of 10 who can get in and
reminded me a lot. It reminded me of Dobra. Someone made that. I think might have been Brenner Woolley made that comment on commentary. Yeah, he reminded me of Dobra. Buzzed in and out, didn't he? Good little player.
Yeah. And then, just when you think it couldn't get any worse, we get the red card for Harrop.
I've got to make a confession at this stage. I was a bit upset. So I was eating one of my wife's really delicious homemade lasagnas on my lap. So we've got just picture this scenario. We've got a fairly new carpet in the lounge and a fairly new suite. So this is the first time we've sort of really been off grid and allowed to sort of I've actually say, tell you what, I've got to watch a match because doing the pod afterwards. I said I'll have to eat it in there. I have to eat it on my lap. So fine, okay, and. Can't listen. I think I might have spilt a little bit of lasagna on the carpet. Panicked a lot. Went to make sure no one's listening. Went into the kitchen. Sort of went to the kitchen. I sort of got something to come back and sort of wipe it with. Teresa said, "What's the matter? What are you up? What's the matter? You're not a bit flustered." I said, "Yeah, we've just gone 2-0 down and had a player sent off. So might have got away with it. Probably I've admitted it now. It's out there in the open now." But so I must admit, I missed. I pretty much didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see it the first time. I saw the replay.
Yeah, I didn't see it first time.
So basically, Harrop goes through his man, and I'm very sorry, guys. I'm going to do it. There's the law. There it is. So we're looking for one of endangers the opponent, uses excessive force, or
was it brutal, Ben? Was it brutal?
I didn't see any brutality. I did probably see some excessive force. So
it was late. I mean, what I saw the rip, it was
no point
late.
appealing.
One-footed late, and like I said. Just gave the referee excuse.
Yeah,
all the Wimbledon players were all over it. The player went down as if he was shot. And it looked.
Dave, in 2021, if you go in with that level of force, you cannot go anywhere near the player, else they're just going to throw themselves up in the air and you're off.
Yeah,
you can't go in with that level of force unless you're going to clean the ball out. And literally now, the standard is not even touch the player. That's the standard now.
Yeah. No, it's quite a delay from the time it happened, and the ref making the decision. But yeah, it's fairly obvious one. I thought
3 games we won't. I suspect.
Don't think we'll see him again.
Back. Yeah,
don't think we'll see him again. No.
And there goes our loan signings for January. Luke Thomas has gone. Matheson's nowhere near the team, and Harrop's got himself red carded midway through the first half.
I mean, out of all the starters tonight, again, he sort of just came totally at left field, right? It just came totally out of nowhere for me. I was very, very surprised he started.
There you go. Rest of the first half, they looked a little bit punch drunk, didn't they? And
Joe called it. I mean, I've said it before, half tongue in cheek, but Joe called it after the first goal. A minute later, game over and spot on.
Yeah. No subs. Start of the second half for Wimbledon. Dave, triple chance. God knows how they don't score. I suppose give Holly some credit.
I mean, that was like comedy moment, isn't it? I mean, that was one of those crap. I mean, fair play to NCR. He could have caught the ball, but had the presence of mind to chest it down and clear it. But how they didn't score there, God only knows. I don't know.
Guys, keep your comments coming. We'll just get to the end of the game and we'll read and we'll answer many of them. Don't you worry about that. Loads of substitutions. Bennett, Sears, Dazelle in. Actually, it's probably easier if I just put Sofa score up, isn't it? Throughout this second half. Yeah, look. So Jackson, Sears, Dazelle, Bishop, Bennett all end up on the pitch for Edwards, who, I think did have a good start to the second half. Ward,
he did, to be fair.
Drinan, Norwood all end up going off. And Dave, if this couldn't have got weirder, I remember doing the podcast years ago and talking about Shane McLaughlin and him coming into like one of the very first podcasts we ever did, and then he comes off the bench for Wimbledon in this game.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, did he not? I think it was the first season of the pod. He came on for his debut. He won a penalty, didn't he? Against I can't remember. It was one of the last games of the season. He won us a penalty. Yeah, he came off the bench. Virtually one of his, may have been his only appearance. Not many.
I just went into sulk mode at this point anyway, as you can tell by my tone of voice. Huge chance for Norwood, who should score on the back post on 77. Chris Kiwami got it right.
I mean, there you go. There's an example. That's the best cross I've seen us. I think it was Wolfen, and one of the best crosses I've seen us put in, probably in Cook's time of being there. Great ball. He just gets totally mistimes his jump. So is he knackered by that stage? Dave.
I guess he's talking about McLaughlin there. Did he win a penalty against Borough?
I think so. Yes, it was. It was down. It was, and do you remember? I think Downing equalised last kick of the game 2-2. Yeah.
Was it that game? Was it? Crikey.
I think so.
Did Pat Bamford score in that game as well?
I think perhaps he
did. Is that what we're talking about?
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
And Adama Traore scared me senseless all
he always did. Did you see that run and cross against West Ham last week?
Lovely stuff. Anyway, 86, 3-0. Dave Chambers just. I don't want to get into the Chambers.
It was a bit meh, wasn't he?
Yeah, he just gets done by McLaughlin. All the defenders converged together, slid across to Longman.
Longman off the bench.
A nice finish by
side to the finish, close
Longman.
range, can't miss that.
3-0. They're probably quite good value for it, weren't they, Dave?
Easily, yeah.
Should we have
Busy.
a look at the numbers?
Go on. Yeah, what does that look like?
Oh my God, I haven't looked at them yet. Jesus, 22 shots to 8, 8 shots to 2 on target. Oh my God, 6 big chances to 1.
Oh God, yeah, easily, yeah. I think, yeah.
Oh my God.
There was. You're right. There was the one at 1-0, the one where Enciala chested it off the line. Oh, easily.
Just quickly in the Championship, Rotherham 3, QPR 1 on 90 minutes. We may not be seeing Rotherham next season, possibly. We may well be seeing Sheffield Wednesday after tonight as well. Just keep your eye on that. Rotherham have just gone 3-1 up. Right, we're going to go to your questions in just a second. There is the table. There are still games going on. You can see Lincoln are leading, Oxford are leading as well.
I think I heard that on commentary. Johnson scored a hat-trick in 11 minutes or something. Dave Johnson.
For Lincoln. Yeah, right. They haven't won in ages as well, have they? But, I mean, let's be honest. The sooner the playoffs get Wigan. Yes. 1 point in 3
Go figure.
Sunderland. I mean, dearie me. Yeah. So, fair play to Wimbledon. Look, 42 outside of that bottom 4. 6 points.
A great chance.
And so have Wigan, actually. Bad week for Northampton. Look, 1 point in the last 2 for them.
Yeah, we've got to go there though, haven't we? So they'll probably pick up. Being totally cynical.
Dear oh me. So right, get your questions in, and we're going to try and tackle them. Dave, so quick summing up of that before we go to the questions.
I mean, it'd be very interesting. I know, obviously, it's probably going on now, or probably in the next 10 minutes or so. But how does he come out and speak about that one? For God's sake! I mean,
Craig put in our WhatsApp group that he pointedly ignored the Town players and went and congratulated the Wimbledon players.
I didn't even know. He switched it off and came straight in here. Didn't? Yeah.
At the end of the game,
apparently, he pointed. Did he not point Harrop down the tunnel? Apparently, I missed that as well.
Yeah. Harrop was arguing, and Cook just said, go down the tunnel as well. Let's just £5 super chat from Chris. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, you perhaps a good point you make there, Chris.
Let me read it. Every out-of-contract player will have an agent telling him if you get a bad injury at this point, your career could be over, and it shows there. There we go. Right. Let's go to some questions and see where we go with this. This is Patrick on Twitter. Keep your questions coming in, guys. We'll try and we can talk a bit about Mark Ashton if you want, but we'll do that in a little while. Should Cook just throw the senior members of this squad out now? Look to Bloodsome youngsters. I know we're going to hear this, Dave. It doesn't often tend to happen. Although if you go back to the last games of 17-18, that's exactly what happened with Brian Klug and Gerard Nash.
Absolutely did, yeah.
What's your views on that, Dave?
Look, you could do no worse. Where our good friend of the pod, Jules Hughes, DM'd me during the game. I think just after Harrop got sent off, and said exactly the same thing. Bin all those players now and almost just give the kids a run out till the end of the season. I think you perhaps got to have some sort of balance to that, really. But yeah, you'd like to see. Again, what we 5 points now. Charlton away Saturday. Look, realistically, that's going to be 8. We've now got 0 goal difference. That's 9 points. Yes, okay, it'll still be mathematically possible, but we're done, aren't we? So yeah, I wouldn't be at all adverse to that. He'll no doubt Cook will want to see these players in first team action. So I haven't got a problem with that. But I think it's got to be a balance. I know that you can go totally that way. It wouldn't be. Well, I don't give a toss about the contracted players, but I know that it'd be totally fair on the younger ones. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. And what was quite interesting today, one or two of these players like Tristan Nydam, Kane Vincent-Young were with the under 23s at home to Barnsley earlier on. So you would think, I didn't see, fingers crossed, both of those got good game time under the belt. I didn't see what happened there. You'd think the likes of Vincent-Young, Tristan Nydam would be Tristan Nydam would be back in with a shout for would be back in the squad squad for Saturday.
Juvenile, Dave.
Oh,
Juvenile.
sorry, mate. Along with Cole Skews, of course. Sorry.
Keep your questions coming in, please. If you're watching live, hit thumbs up wherever you're watching. Wherever you see a thumb on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, hit it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Ring the bell for notifications.
So you would think, I would certainly think that, you know, if we did get a good run out today and no ill effects, that we would see Nydam featuring, maybe even from the start on Saturday. There's one.
Paul. Oh no, Westy. I think he requested we call him last time, didn't he? Assuming there is a huge clear out, is one pre-season enough for Paul Cook to get us far in next season, or are we realistically looking at playoffs? We've seen it. We've seen it before, haven't we? Where a manager gets a run at a season, and you know they get the pre-season right, and away they go. So I think if it's done well, and you know they always trot out that get your recruitment done early. That might be the only issue, mightn't it? What's your view on that, Dave?
No, I agree. Get the right characters in. You know, we said all along we need one or two more leaders in the squad, in the side. So yeah, very, very involved, massive. Probably arguably the biggest pre-season in the last 20 years, probably. You know, with the additional investment that's now there. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get it done early, because we never do it early. But hopefully we can, and he can have time with these new players.
I think we've done this, but area of the team is just going to be I mean, Dave, we said the club was rotten under Evans. Is the dressing room rotten now, or is the situation that they're in now with an ownership change and hundreds of contracts?
It's a weird, it's a weird one. This whole ownership change. You know, I mean, we're not alone. You know, as we know, there are other clubs with just as many players. But surely Ipswich Town have never had a close season like this with so many players out of contract. So it must be weird. You know, these players looking at each other, really not knowing, you know, really what their, you know, what or how their future lies, or where their future lies. So that has got to have some effect on things, I would have thought.
Last time we had a clear out of players was under Hurst. Anyone concerned we might make the same mistake again? I think the difference there is we had some tangible assets who Webster and Waghorn and Garner. Selina went off, didn't he? McGoldrick, who'd actually, you know, with no disrespect to, you know, some of the guys that have done.
They were like, I mean, to be honest, you know, who are we going to miss? You know, who are we going to miss? Who gives way now? I think you're right. You know, the likes of Waghorn and McGoldrick and players like that, irreplaceable at that level for us anyway at the time.
Just how much are the new owners going to have to pay to get decent players into a club now? I mean, define decent, Dave.
Where you shop, you know,
League One, where he's shopping, you know.
Where are they shopping now? You know, before we probably wouldn't even be looking at fees, would we? We'd be looking at freebies, etc. So we're obviously now shopping in a slightly different league. But you know, how are you going to persuade? You're going to persuade, I don't know, out of contract players from Championship to drop down with the, you know, looking at the club with the, you know, the promise and the plan ahead with the new investment and stuff. Who knows?
So Rich, am I right to be angry with Harrop? A, for the sending off, yes. B, for being a pointless loan, that's not his fault. C, both. I think I'm going for A on that one, Dave.
Yeah, I think so. I think A, the loans, you're right. The loan's not his fault, was it?
Goalkeepers, Dave, and Holly.
It's Westy again. Flicking at Westy.
Holly didn't do a lot wrong, did he, tonight?
No, I thought the two youngsters, Holly and Cornell. I think I said on Sunday I was a bit surprised they let the Polish lad go, Piszczek go. I was a bit surprised at that, because when the bits and pieces I've seen of him, he looks really good and still quite young. So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
Do you think we'll win any of the remaining games? We will, won't we? But we're not going to get anything against Charlton, are we?
No, we're not going to get anything against Charlton. You'd think there's a goal in this somewhere.
But what happens? What happens next, Dave? What happens tomorrow? Does he bring them in tomorrow? Does he let everyone have a day off and just everyone has a little bit of a think? What is going to happen at the next training session, at the next meeting?
I don't know. I mean, you'd think he needs as much. Again, you know, we've said it before. They're, it's Saturday, Tuesday. They're not hardly, getting, I guess, a chance to spend much time in the training ground. I mean, if I was, if you were him, you'd want to get them in and work with them as much as possible. Or, how can you move? It's difficult. Move on from a result like that. Again, we said it Sunday. You're so close. 3 points tonight. You turn up. You get the 3 points tonight. You're virtually there. You can touch the playoffs. You're there. But Ben, I don't know. It's far too early to tell what his sort of reaction. What his action and how he'll deal with that. Like I said, his press conference this evening his interviews this evening would be an interesting one. I would have thought.
Do you think he might bury the players? Actually, go for them this time?
What, in a Paul Hurst Exeter style?
Did you hear Nigel Pearson's interview the other day for Bristol City?
No, I didn't. No,
did
he go big time?
Big time, yeah. Absolute demolished them. So it's in the air at the moment.
Sometimes it takes that. I mean, Cook doesn't strike me as he suffers fools lightly. So yeah, don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a couple that kind of, does Cook escape the blame here? We look so poorly set up.
I think it's just...
And at what point do we? That's probably the more pertinent one. At what point do we question Cook? I suspect we question Cook in probably about October, don't we?
Absolutely. Look,
I think
we said after the window, pre-season, and first 10 games. Yeah. Right.
Keep your questions coming, Dave. I've got an important question for you. What is 20% of 16.99?
Oh, you got me, Ben. You flipping got me there, mate. 20. So hang on. 10% would be about £3.40, mate.
£3.39.8. Why do I ask? Because this is the new Spring Saver from Favourite Chicken. Wow. 6 pieces of Favourite Chicken, 8 favourite wings, 4 regular fries, 2 large tub sides. $16.99. But are you going to pay $16.99?
No,
are you hell? You are not going to pay that because you watched the Blue Monday podcast. Have a look down the bottom. 20% off Favourite Chicken for Blue Monday subscribers. www.chickenipswich.co.uk. Enter the code BM20 at checkout. Have some of that.
Get on it. Get on it. Ben, have you sort of composed a chicken tune yet or not?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay.
Shall I suggest that to the Favourite Chicken, Alison, the marketing officer?
I think so.
Like that, actually,
yeah, I think she would.
There you go. Favourite Chicken, chickenipswich.co.uk, BM20. Get involved in your spring saver there. What a beautiful thing that is. Right, let's go to some more questions. Here. Why doesn't Paul Cook stick with his 4-2-3-1? I think he feels he's already tried it.
It's tried and tested with any sort of number of combination of players.
We're throwing stuff at the wall already, aren't we, Dave? Will Cook have the bottle to even do a presser tonight? If anyone's on it, can you keep us posted? Because let us know what is
other guys would say surely
on there. Flint Fireforge. Will the scouting pool increase now with the new owners? And if so, where do you think they'll be looking at? I mean, are they going to be wanting to pay fees in League One post-COVID with everyone out of contract? Someone else made a good point up here. Sunderland have got new ownership as well, and they're on a bit of a sticky streak.
Yeah, at the moment. That's Louis Dreyfus millions, bloody hellfire. Yeah.
Is that anything to do with Seinfeld, Julia Louis Dreyfus?
The Julia Louis Dreyfus, whether she was actually related to the Louis Dreyfus dynasty, I don't actually know, but yeah, that was Elaine, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
Beautiful. Right.
I mean, it's obviously talk. There was talk last week, obviously, about some potential recruitment and looking at players from across the pond, as it were, from the States.
Let's have a look. Pete, who from the current senior squad would make it into a Paul Cook 4-2-3-1 top 6 League One next season? I was going to say Downs and Vincent Young, and he's already said those two.
Yeah, I think you're struggling to see anyone outside of that. I mean, you look at, I know he only got a few minutes tonight, but you look at Teddy Bishop and he's just not the same. We have seen it in glimpses, haven't we? We've said before in recent weeks, we've seen it in glimpses, but he's just not, you would have always said him nailed on, but he's just not the player he was, fortunately.
Liam, Ben, how much do you blame Lambert for the mess he created? I blame Lambert for the lack of pattern of play and tactical acumen of the building of. I suppose if Lambert had stuff around him to actually build a framework and build a squad, that would have been different. But for the complete lack of identity on the pitch, yes, I totally blame Lambert that there was nothing there for Cook to take over. And we all thought, Dave, there is something there because we've got some good players, but they're either not very good or they've down tools.
I'm sorry, I just don't think they're very good. Players don't down tools. I'm sorry, they don't. They just don't. I just don't think the squad is as cracked up. Is cracked up as it was meant to be. It's just not. It is not. The quality for me. The quality just isn't there at all.
No goals scored in the last 3 games against questionable opposition. Handful of shots on target.
Well,
Adrian's making a reasonable point. He's drilling in. He's finding the weakness, but this is bigger than any creativity or strikers or whatever. This is just a now disparate bunch of players who don't know where they're going with the club. They don't know where their careers are going personally. No. They've got nothing knitted together with anybody. It feels like with paying heed to Adrian's question there, it feels like just something way bigger than tactics and strikers and creating chances and formations, doesn't it?
I mean, you sort of described that and you said down tools, but it does almost seem like it's like end of term, end of an era type thing. You wonder whether, they're going to get on the coach with a Kaplunk or operation or something like that. It's it has got that sort of kind of end of term feel to it, but it shouldn't have because, we were that, that close. Bennett's just bizarre. I find it really quite bizarre. I mean, we said Sunday, in the pod Sunday, look, goals. Yeah, if Norwood had played Saturday, some of the chances Freddie Sears had, towards the end, you'd have thought, yeah, we'd have win the game. Great to see Norwood starting tonight, and you think, right, here we go, Norwood starting, create some chances for him, but just didn't work and never looked like working.
Right, little straw poll. I'll just go through the League One results. Keep your questions coming. Let's do a straw poll, and you have to do this now. No silly answers. Name your Ipswich man of the match from tonight. No silly answers. You have to name an Ipswich player in the chat for your man of the match tonight. So have a think about it. Your Ipswich Town man of the match. There are tonight's scores in League One. Crewe 0, Pompey 0. Wigan 2, Sunderland 1. Sunderland slipping at the top of the table. Wimbledon 3, Ipswich 0. Wow. Rochdale 2, Swindon 1. Doncaster 0, Burton, Real Madrid 3.
Wow.
Oxford 4, Shrewsbury 1. They've gone above, gone past us tonight.
10 goals in 2 games, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Inform Blackpool 0, Stanley 0. Lincoln 4, MK Dons 0. Tomorrow night. Oh, sorry, that's not tomorrow night. That's Friday night, isn't it? Posh versus Northampton. Now I think we're into the next round of games. Right, let's have a look at your ITFC man of the matches here. Edwards, we're going to start the second half.
Do you know what? I was just about to say Edwards for those 15 minutes.
No, we need to give Downs one bit of credit for that beautiful drive out of central midfield in the first half.
First half.
Played it to Drinan though instead of Norwood.
Again, Craig in our group said, why didn't he shoot? 20 yards, made all that ground. Why didn't he get a shot off? And he's right.
Fans on the roof.
Oh yeah.
Holly, Downs, Edwards. Few for Edwards, a few for Downs, few for the fans on the roof. I voted for Chris Kiwomya earlier on. Stop it, Nick.
Stop it.
Deary me. There you go. There's one from John, Chris Kiwomya.
You got him on side there, Ben.
There you go. Oh, I think we've got some quotes coming in. Thank you, Richard. Keep your questions coming in. Thanks, Rich, for feeding us the quotes here. Cook, I've watched football for years. Oh, actually, shall I try and do it? Listen, I watched football for years. Our fans are that's mean, isn't it?
For years, and our fans are tired and bored of us.
Our fans are tired and bored of us, aren't they? The voice goes up and down like 3 octaves anyway. So it's very mean to Paul Cook.
Wow.
I'm going to read it again. I've watched football for years. Our fans are tired and bored of us, aren't they? We're a million miles away from a good team, and I include the staff and players tonight. I can't trust the players. So it sounds like, I mean, he's not.
There is going to be
any. He's done it.
I mean, not that it's going to be a surprise. That squad is going to be absolutely decimated, isn't it? Absolutely decimated. Bloody hell!
I just like I say, I don't know what happens in the next meeting or the next training session. I don't know how, as a manager,
you've got to try and give them a lift somehow, because we could get walloped at Charlton. I mean, we were walloped tonight, but we could get a proper chewing at Charlton if we're not careful.
Remember, I suspect last time we played Nigel Adkins is when Jared Bowen and Harry Wilson demolished us 3-0 at Portman Road.
That was a bit of a lesson, wasn't it? Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Keep your questions coming in. It was AFC Wimbledon 3, Ipswich Town and their 10 men 0 tonight. Again, another plug wherever you're watching, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button. Gets more people into the stream. Hit the like button, particularly on YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Dave and I are trying our best after just an abject performance. Dave, we said this club had bottomed out and Evan Selling was the pit of the ocean, but it's going to get worse before the end of the season, right?
I mean, it's got worse in a week, hasn't it? I mean, it's got, what was it, 6 days? Yeah, last Wednesday, so 7 days. So yeah, it's got worse in 7 days, for goodness sake. So I mean, tonight was just the worst, because tonight as we said the weekend, we're so fortunate. There's such a crap league that after all these games, we're still only 3 points off the playoffs. But what did we say? We said, well, we've got to get something at Wimbledon, because if you don't get anything at Wimbledon, or we'll win at Wimbledon, we ain't going to get anything at Charlton. Well, you're on the back foot. You're probably on the back foot there already.
He can't let them take them down with him. His job's on the line with the new regime. Yeah, he's got to distance himself from the.
Well, to be perfectly honest, yeah.
What else have we got here? Yeah, Saturday's lineup. If anyone wants to have a go at that in the chat. So,
I mean, would you? I see. Let's have a look. What's I made? I think Kenlock played for the 20. I mean, again, would you have Kenlock back in for Ward now?
Well, you think Dazelle would come back in because he's fairly clear because he didn't start that game, so he might be a starter at the weekend, mightn't he?
Nidam.
Nidam, maybe. I think Downs will start.
Downs will hold his place. Goodness me, yeah, Downs will hold his place.
Saturday. I don't think Drynan will. I think Norwood will start.
I don't think Drynan will. Maybe the fabled. Maybe he'll go with the fabled Norwood, much fabled Norwood and Jackson again.
Much fabled. Will you behave yourself?
Hawkins.
4-4 effing 2 in there.
Hawk weren't on the bench tonight, was he? No, I don't think he
Hawkwind.
Was he? Hawkwind. I tell you what, here's a player tonight. Bennett's infuriated me, because I quite like Bennett, and I said to my lads, Bennett's, yeah. When he came on, I think, I quite like Bennett. He's got a trick in it. No end product, he's got a trick. And he played the worst pass, and then the worst bit of control. His first 2 touches, I think, was just absolute. And he's the worst bit of control was he couldn't control the ball right in front of Cook as well. That was just dire, absolutely dire.
Chris, even 5 wins out of the last 6 only gets to 75. Yeah, I think we can.
No, we're done, mate. We are done. Yeah.
Stick a fork in us.
Stick a fork in us, a stat used to say. Yeah.
I mean, John's making a point here. Is there, when expectations get so low, is there any argument of, look, just go defensive, don't lose? Do you know what I mean?
Go defensive and try and nick one. Well, yeah.
We got a couple of teams coming in.
Has he tried that yet? I'm not sure. Go on. I think perhaps Kenlock. I agree with that. Yeah, Edwards probably
he's got Bennett and Bishop coming back in. Yeah.
I don't mind that.
There's one from
cool. There's a cool.
Cornell, Chris Cornell.
Lancaster. What's happened? Lancaster just forgot about him. Lancaster.
Now,
Christ.
Parrott played for the 23s today as
Parrott
well,
played
didn't he?
No, he doesn't. For me, he doesn't offer anything. Parrott. Nah.
There's one
Only with a chain
there.
by Nye Dam.
Damn.
Down Skews. Wouldn't surprise me to see Skews. Would not surprise me to see Skews in there.
Sometimes you go back to
Shoot me down,
simple.
everybody. But it wouldn't
Dave,
surprise me.
look, no Ipswich fan is in any position to shoot any other Ipswich fan down. None of us have got a bloody clue what's going on here. But
No, I know.
ridiculous. Let's have another little look at the league table and just see how things are shaking out on there. So there we are, 9th position, only one win in 5 points in the last 5. So point per game is pretty much survival form, isn't it? Rather than you're looking for 1.6, 1.7 for, to be on the back end of playoffs. And Dave, I know this sounds awful. I'd quite like it to go to a 7 or 8 point gap with 4 games to go, and then it's just done. Send the lone players back, move on.
Ben, you're right. And the gap will be greater after. We're not going to get anything at Charlton. Come on, we're just not. So the gap will be greater still then. And then you just have to go with it till the end of the season. I think you'll probably see, maybe you will see, like last week, some more players shifted out before the end of the season, I would have thought.
Well, let us know in the comments if you think that is likely. Do you want to see those loans go back? Are we going to be tearing up contracts and just moving on? I suppose Cook's come into all the press conferences, Dave, and said, look, I know we're not playing well, but there's still a chance. I suppose what's the gap now? He's not going to be tearing anything up, even while there's a 5 points.
It's 6 points, isn't it? It's 6.
5 points gap. Oh, what with the goal difference? 15 and okay.
Yeah, I mean, bloody fine. Oxford gone ahead of us and just knocked in 10 in 2 games, for Christ's sake. Yeah, it's a
novel approach, isn't it, Dave? Scoring a load of goals.
We're certainly not used to that, Ben. No, not at all. Well, we sort of were at the beginning of last season but when we this season, we start the season winning matches by like 2s, didn't we?
Yeah, and there was that
popular score.
There was that terribly decisive, win at Blackpool, wasn't there? Where we got 4 goals from an XG of about 1.5, didn't we? And
that was a bit mad. I mean,
very lovely, wasn't it?
Again, we started the season quite well. Then we got hammered at Donny, and then it all sort of evaporated really after then. I mean. No one can envisage this. Not with Cook coming in. You would think that you would. And we looked at these fixtures and we said, we've got no one to play. We've got no one to play other than Charlton away. Obviously, Portsmouth was pretty much one of his first games. Okay, we got Portsmouth, but there's no one else to play. And we haven't scored more than. Is that right? Well, yeah, John, you're right. Must be. Crikey, yeah. That's a sobering thought. And that was when? October, was it?
John's comment, Dave didn't read it. We haven't scored more than 2 goals since the Blackpool game. Yeah. Torrey Simpson, Dave, is it?
Give him a go. Give him a go. Someone else.
Give him a go time.
Someone else mentioned that the other day. I mean, he's a big unit, isn't he? Quite mobile. Give him a go, I say. Yeah. Again, Joe would know much more about this. I'm not sure whether he's been featuring much for the 23s or not.
There's a couple of decent teams.
So that was our. Oh, hello. Stop it, Rich. Go back to the previous one. I love that previous one. That was a 67. So this is a 67-68 promotion side. Look at this. So Ken Hancock, Billy Houghton, Morris, Baxter, Jefferson, Hegan, Viljoen, Crawford, Ledge, O'Rourke, Brogan. Yeah. So that's a 67. Go on, Ben. Go to the next one. Go to that. That's from Neil. And you can I'll let you salivate over that one, mate.
There's nothing really to say. Nothing really to say about that. That is the. It's not the playoff final team, is it? Or is it? It's not the one that started. Croft played in that game, didn't he?
Didn't play, did he?
Yeah.
But look at the lead
team.
Just look at the leaders in that. We talk about leaders in the team. Look at the leaders in that team: Mowbray, Holland, Magilton, right through the spine of the team. Probably say Venus at a push there, but right through the spine of the team. Look at that. We're
Bit
so
of
far.
quality helps though as well, Dave,
A
doesn't
bit
it?
of quality to go with that steeliness helps as well. Exactly right. My
Deary
goodness
me. We are reacting to AFC Wimbledon 3, Ipswich Town 0. We're going to go a little bit longer. Keep your questions coming in. Please follow on Twitter at Blue Monday ITFC.
I think
Subscribe on
someone made
YouTube, Blue Monday, with the Instagram as well. We must give a shout to. We've got the Terrace Live stuff on the Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Follow, go and do it. Sorry, Dave, you were saying.
No, I think Brennan Woolley made the that sort of brought it in perspective. The comment that when we got the year we got relegated, so what 2001-2. That's when Wimbledon basically reformed in the like United Counties League, for Christ's sake. So it just shows how the time has treated both sides.
Keep your questions coming in. We love your teams, but we'd love some questions even more. I think everyone's just a bit punch drunk here tonight, Dave, after that, aren't they?
I think so, mate. Yeah. I don't think you can. A tough one to take. We've had some tough nights, some tough games, but yeah, that was a hard one to take tonight, I think.
It had the air of that Grimsby game. I know obviously under Burley we had some more players then, and we've fallen a long way since then, but just a really, really
I was
depressing
there.
one.
I was there that night, attending a business meeting the next day, surprisingly in Hull actually, and I went to a very chilly Cleethorpes that night, and saw the last rites of the Burley era. Tore a new one by Steve Cabber, if I remember rightly.
Absolutely. Saleable assets, Dave. Dazelle, Wolfen and Downs. Is that about it?
Probably, yeah.
Vincent Youngs, if you can get him on the pitch.
Vincent Young, if you can get him, but no one's going to take a gamble on him at the moment. No, he needs a season under his belt, doesn't he?
So it feels like it's kind of been pushed to the background, but obviously it's been announced today that Mark Ashton is going to work till.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
Oh, it's crap. Oh, it's bloody rubbish. Rubbish.
Oh, brilliant. Let's have some more of that. Brilliant.
So, we'll do one more before the end of the show. Mark Ashton's going to be leaving Bristol City on May the 31st.
Yeah.
And joining up with us as CEO. We spoke to Gregor McGregor of the Bristol Post early on. That's on my YouTube channel, but down our Blue Monday podcast feed. Check that out. He knows way more about it than most people, let's just say. We're getting a little bit of sort of resentment from Bristol City fans not towards Ipswich, but look, resentment is resentment. It kind of comes around in quite an ugly way, doesn't it? Resentful towards Mark Ashton, and I mean that's football fans. I'm sure there's some truth behind it, and then I'm sure there's some exaggeration and some over emotion, isn't there? But what are your thoughts then, Dave?
I mean, this is I must admit, Ben, I didn't hear it, but is there resentment because of what? Is he carrying some of the can for the way they've dropped like a stone in Championship, or?
Yes, and then you get the normal stuff where every operational decision that goes wrong is then his fault. Medical team, recruitment, the hire of Dean Holden.
We need a CEO, at least a guy. I'm prepared to give a guy a chance. I think at least he comes from a football background, which we haven't always had before. Certainly not with previous CEOs that come to mind. Ian Milne, perhaps. I mean, perhaps the last real football man I guess we had was Derek Bowden, I guess. But wait and see. I think some nice where he was, the owner, the Bristol City owner, I think departed with some. He's I say departed now. We know he's going. Said some nice words about him. So yeah.
Basically, Steve Lansdowne, the owner,
he's coming from a football background, which is good.
There's lots of football people have said lots of nice things about him, but the Bristol City fans are saying lots of not nice things about him. But generally, most people in that position get criticised, don't they? You don't hear many get praised. So we'll see. We will see. Does the fact that Paul Cook turned down Bristol City and now their CEO is choosing us bode well? I think we're in the realms of rumour and innuendo and hearsay there.
I mean that was I think that was certainly very uppermost in most of us minds sort of over the weekend, wasn't it? Certainly when we did the pod on Sunday, I think that was generally hanging there in the air. But with the press conference that he held yesterday, you would think, well, up until kickoff time tonight, you'd think those fears had been allayed.
Cook has just had a go at Harold and Bennett's in his ITFC presser. It's not brave to get sent off when you're 2-0 down. It's not brave to not pass to. They're two lone players, yes?
Yes, they are. I mean, that pass.
Carefully selected targets, Dave.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not surprised he's getting called out for that pass. So that we can take it. Someone who suggested that Bennett's might be in the starting lineup on Saturday. I probably think from that we can take it he won't be.
Neil, should we really believe in the academy? Its record is not good. Come back, Neil, and define not good. That's far too broad. I don't know what you're expecting from an academy in terms of what time scale are you saying not good on, and what is the output you're expecting from academy players? A bit too broad. So come back a bit more specific.
And
on
also,
that one,
Neil,
and we'll
I think we should also mention best wishes, good luck for the boys, for the under-18s on Saturday. I think it's the Sheffield United Youth Cup quarter-final. I assume it was still, I believe it's Saturday. Joe will obviously put me right on that.
Yes. I follow Intergroup. Yeah, we'll check out that interview with Paul Cook. I'm sure that will get brought up on the podcast, which I think is Mikey and Joe plus one. No, it's probably not going to be me. Might end up being you, Dave. We'll see. But whoever's on it, we'll talk about it over the weekend, and
it's a strange kickoff, isn't it? Obviously it's the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral on Saturday afternoon, so I think we're kicking off at midday, 12:30, something like that.
12:30. I think everyone got the choice of 12:30 and 5:30, and they could literally decide themselves. I think everyone's kind of gone 12:30, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, our friend Noel, Dave, please tell me it'll be all right in the end, guys. Noel, everything will be all right. Everything.
You've even got it sung. No, you've even got it sung to you by Ben.
It's that weird song at the end of that. Do you remember that first Killers album where they broke Hot Fuss? It had that kind of weird avant-garde thing.
Got that album somewhere, but I don't remember. Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll be all right. Any club that gets any new investment, they always come to the fore in the end. No, it will. It's a case of wait and see, but let's hope so.
If you were in Ashton's position, Darrell, or the analyst, potentially bringing in higher quality research talent, would you keep Cook, or does the job require a manager a step higher? Cook is a step higher. He was third best performing manager for the second half of the championship season, wasn't he, last season?
He certainly was. I mean, the job is in some ways, and we really won't know this, will we? If it's right, and if he's right in what he says, that he had no idea it was a fully blown takeover that broke last Wednesday, then his whole situation has sort of changed slightly, because as we said before, under the old regime, under Marcus Evans, managers have always been given time, too much time in hindsight, no doubt, but have always been given time. But with the completely new ownership, he's going to have a new CEO, a new boss, who purportedly he's not had the best of relationships with previously in their brief dealings. With that comes a lot more pressure on him, and a lot more pressure on results, and to achieve those results and achieve their ambitions. And look, Ben, let's face it, they're certainly not going to be wanting to hang around in League One for, well, I'd have thought more than a season, for goodness sake. So with that comes additional pressure for him. Let's
round this out, this last 5 minutes. So we want to know how you were feeling, particularly in that first half. Let us know your reaction, particularly in the first half, guys, in the comments, and we'll read some of them.
I was fine. I've got to somehow sneak in the room and check the lasagna stain in a minute, but I think it's okay.
Unbelievable scenes.
I know.
So we're going to go another few minutes. Keep your questions coming in. Let us know how you were feeling, particularly as that red card came out, and when you thought things couldn't get much worse. They, of course, did. We are reacting to AFC Wimbledon 3, Ipswich Town 0. Yeah, well, let's go back to Neil. I asked him to put a bit of meat on the bone there. I wrote earlier, name a big success from the academy who has benefited Town significantly since the nobody from that team has been the same success for Town or elsewhere.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, and when you compare them, and I know we make comparisons. I know you moan at me making comparisons, but okay, 30 years before when we won it in 1975, you had players like Russell Osman, David Geddes. I think John Walk was in that. So he was in that side. So yeah, you can see sort of progression. I mean, things were slightly different, a slightly different structure to back then to the academy that you have now. But yeah, it's a good point and a surprising point. I mean, who has made? I mean, funny enough, we saw Ed Upson. We saw Ed Upson playing Saturday, didn't we? I mean, he's had a career, admittedly in the lower leagues, but can you think of anybody? I'm struggling to think of someone's probably people are out there.
Darren Bent, Darren Ambrose from 2005. Were they in that side?
No. They've gone by then, haven't they? They've been first teamers and they've been first teamers.
Of course they had, yeah.
They've been first teamers and left by then. Bent left in 2005, didn't he? He's a first teamer, yeah. And Ambrose had left 2 seasons before. Yeah. Ironically, the side with those two, and I'm not sure really they made much of an impression on the Youth Cup. So, yeah, big opportunity massive opportunity for these players, really. But I think, Neil's right. It's a surprise, that one. All right, you had the goalkeeper, didn't you, Shane Supple, that you'd have thought would have gone on to have some sort of career, but Jack got disillusioned with football and obviously jacked it all in and went back to Ireland. He obviously played Garvin. Owen Garvin was part of that squad, so he came through to the first team, didn't he? But again, just out of favour with Keane, wasn't it? I think. And when
Connor Wickham.
No, he wasn't in that team.
No, but as a player who's been.
I was at academy. Oh Christ, he might. Yeah, absolutely. And what are you talking? You're also talking about Ambrose and Bent coming through the academy as well, rather than being in that team, Ben, or not? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, obviously. But yeah, we certainly had no one of that profile. Interesting to see. I haven't spoken to Joe recently about the lad, how he's getting on. The lad that went to Man City, Ben Knight.
I think with regards to the academy, Dave, though, there's the academy being good, and I don't want to get into a whole Mick debate, but we know that Mick loved experienced, seasoned, tough players, didn't he? So sometimes you could have had a manager in there for 6 years who
would have given him that chance.
He did put Dezelle in at 16, didn't he? But Mick was very much about Johnny Parr and Stephen Hunt and Christoph Bearer, rather than Josh Emmanuel or Miles Kenlock or
you're right,
whoever. So there you go. It's an aspect of probably a wider conversation, but no club relies 100% on their academy. I suppose it's just a part of it, isn't it? I'm sure someone will give an example of someone who promotes loads of players from their academy, but it's they nick them all from other academies, don't they?
I know they do. But look, you're looking at the lot that's playing on, for the the under 18s. You've got Baggett, who's got first, albeit brief first team experience. Liam Gibbs. So they're obviously the core of that side, and you'd think. And
I think, Dave, it says a lot about. Sorry to interrupt you, mate. So it says a lot about the academy system, where we know a lot of these players all get snaffled by Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. While they're stockpiling players, so it might not be that that we're pointing fingers at the Ipswich Academy and saying it's the most terrible thing ever.
Here's another example, and that's what made me think of that Ben Knight on Saturday, because the lad who went to Chelsea came on as sub for MK, didn't he? Charlie Brown, who he was nicked by Chelsea, who apparently played in their UEFA in the UEFA Academy League or something. Was absolutely like top goal scorer, absolutely ripping it up in that tournament. But it's Chelsea, and you're just going to get lost, and won't, unless you're a Mason Mount or something, or a Phil Foden at Man City, you're just not gonna make it through unless you're that exceptional.
Lost in the shuffle, hey? Right. We've managed to get through the hour, Dave. I think we only did about 10 minutes on the game, which is good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry, a bit just depressed and punch drunk with that one tonight. If you want to shout out, stick it down there in the comments. We'll give you a shout out before we go. We're going to be back as ever on Sunday with the normal pod after the Charlton game. I'm sure that will also be a barrel of laughs, won't it?
Well, but
we're all looking forward to it.
I suppose we can all sort of think we're expecting nothing. 6 weeks ago when we went to Hull, absolutely nothing. We could get walloped, and look what happened there. So look, there's always
there
hope.
he goes.
There's always hope.
There he goes. The eternal optimism of the football supporter. Please, the normal plugs. Follow on Twitter at Blue Monday ITFC. Subscribe on Acast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and of course. Favouritechicken.co.uk. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that, am I? They've got a specific URL. I always get this wrong and get in trouble. Chicken-ipswich.co.uk. Discount code Blue Monday 20. Get yourself involved with the Spring Saver for $16.90. You just love that coming on.
You're teasing me now. Stop
flash it up there. Right, let's do some shout outs. Charlie, Luke. There's a request. Zach, Neil, Nick.
Cheers, Neil. No, taking it down, mate. Taking it down.
Is this one of those names where if I read it out, it makes me say something really, really stupid?
I think he's got you on this one. Go on.
I'm not saying it in case I'm going to libel myself or something. Mark, Liam's one of my friends, Dave, MK Dons fan. They got hammered tonight.
Oh, wow, yeah.
There you go. Paul, go and clean the carpet, Dave. Michael, Zach, Rob.
I think Rob's right. Rob's nailed it there. We really would be, wouldn't we? It wasn't for the takeover.
John.
Cheers, John. Thanks,
Lovely
guys.
Stuff. Right, thanks everybody for watching. Dave, should we just let Brian Clough do the do the thing that people really, really want to hear? Dave, you've frozen at a very inopportune moment there. So we'll let Cloughie do it and then we'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you very much for watching. And we will see you very soon. It was AFC Wimbledon 3, Ipswich Town 0. And here is Brian Clough to take you home.
Oh, it's crap. Oh, it's bloody rubbish. Rubbish.
Thanks for watching or listening to the Blue Monday podcast. And thanks to those of you who have kindly supported the channel via Acast or YouTube donations. You can follow us at the usual places on social media, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get our new shows first.